This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Looking for these better days.
It is Wednesday, November 5th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. A wild NFL trade deadline yesterday. The first college football playoff rankings are out, and the NFL Trench Report as well. Plus, we have lots of action in basketball to get to, so let's not waste any time. Remember, the 5th of November, Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. I know that's like an old like English thing, but like it just makes me think of V for Vendetta. You ever see that movie?
You're enlightening me because I thought it was just for V for Vendetta. I'm like, nice V for Vendetta reference. Yeah, we should remember that movie. But you're probably right. There probably was some sort of Paul Revere or some sort of Battle of Hastings, some bullshit.
Yeah, that was the what it was referring to. The V for Vendetta mask was the Guy Fawkes mask, and it was Guy Fawkes Night. That was the whole thing. And
1605, the gunpowder plot. How could we forget?
Yes. Remember the 5th of November. And that was what an underrated movie. That was the Wachowskis, right? That was the ones that did the
That
Matrix.
was the last movie where both of them
were male.
Physically male,
yes.
I know they were women years and years ago when they went to Whitney Young, where my sister went to high school. So did Michelle Obama. So what a great legacy we got going on.
That was the last time they were referred to as the Wachowski brothers.
The brothers.
Yes.
Exactly. The last one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, man, I want to watch that now. Anyway.
Even if they only made The Matrix 1 and that movie, they're Hall of Fame filmmakers. I don't care what
for
anybody
sure.
says.
For sure.
Hall of Fame filmmakers.
Just incredible stuff. What's so incredible about that movie is that like it literally like was timeless, where depending on what year you're watching it, like you can make it relevant to like current times.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's
very
like,
topical.
It's like, wow, like this political turmoil is going on now. Yeah. Just all right, crazy. All right, enough about that. Let's talk some football, Mackenzie. Yesterday, the NFL trade deadline came and went, and it was a very busy NFL trade deadline. The New York Jets made the biggest headlines as they traded away not only Sauce Gardner, but also Quinnen Williams as the fire sale took place. Sauce Gardner goes to the Indianapolis Colts. So Indy trading away a first-round pick, and that's kind of signaling that, like, hey, they're committing to Daniel Jones for the long haul here in Indy. And also Quinnen Williams goes to the Dallas Cowboys. So the Jets stockpile some picks. What did you make of those moves?
The Jets, I've heard some people say this allows Aaron Glenn to say that it was always a rebuilding year. I think it was always a rebuilding year. I don't think they brought Justin Fields in thinking this is going to be a playoff contender. I thought maybe long shot lottery ticket, he might turn out to be something. But with the amount of money and dead cap from the Rodgers era, this was going to be a rebuild. They kind of accelerated it. Maybe they should have done it sooner. I think it's just only sensible to move on from the two names that you probably know of as a casual NFL fan.
So Sauce Gardner was the second in-season trade ever, or in the last 30 years, the second in-season trade in the last 30 years that involved multiple first-round selections. So,
wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an expensive price. Like if you would have asked yourself, what could we get from Sauce Gardner? I'm not sure anyone was thinking about trading him a week ago. I don't think I would have said 2 first-round picks.
They just extended him. You traded a player, you just extended. Just fascinating stuff. And then Quinnen Williams, he goes to the Dallas Cowboys. So, Jerry Jones said that they made some trades.
They're going to stop the run.
Yeah.
They're going to stop that run.
You got to stop that run is right. And that's something interesting. Like, we'll talk about when we do the Trench Report here, but, it's interesting that it's not going to factor in some of the traded players. So maybe some of the teams could be a little different this week. Although, like, do the players have an immediate impact in this week, or is the impact maybe felt like after this week? And so maybe that'll be like the Week 11 Trench Report will factor in like Quinnen Williams on the Dallas Cowboys and things like that. Elsewhere, Jacoby Myers, who was really disgruntled with the Raiders, he goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Obviously, having the injuries to Travis Hunter being out, Brian Thomas Jr. has been a huge disappointment this year. So they get a wide receiver there in Jacoby Myers, and now it's just like Brock. How many targets is Brock Bowers going to get in every game? It's like there's no one else to throw the football to here in Vegas.
Yeah, I love my Broncos survivor pick. The Raiders, it seems like they're always at the end of an era, but this was a short-lived era for Pete Carroll. I mean, can you imagine how many Raiders are back? Is Tom Brady back next year? Is Geno Smith back next year? Nothing would surprise me. Nothing seemed to work. Why not move on from a disgruntled wide receiver?
And the Saints sending the deep speed threat Rashid Shaheed. He gets traded to the Seattle Seahawks. So Seattle with another deep threat weapon there for Sam Darnold. That should be fun to watch in that Seahawks offense. Kind of like
and Jackson Smith and Jigba has been the number one target, number one EPA guy, number one fantasy guy for wide receivers. So they probably have been a little bit too reliant on him. Good to make a move earlier rather than before people started talking about it.
Yeah, so a lot of the Saints also trading offensive tackle Trevor Penning to the Chargers, who the Chargers were in desperate need of a tackle with Rashawn Slater out for the season. Joe Alt now done for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So the banged up Chargers offensive line getting some reinforcements. That was a big deal for them. We'll see, the impact that he has immediately coming to the Chargers. So that was kind of the bulk of the deadline deals that were done yesterday. I know the Cowboys got a couple other players, the Titans, we talked about that maybe yesterday. They trade edge rusher there to the Ravens. So really the big deadline deals were the ones involving the New York Jets yesterday. And so that certainly has an impact on the rest of these teams now moving forward. The NFL Trench Report, Mackenzie, crunched all the numbers. We have the Trench Report we have to get to this before we get to the Trench Report. Yesterday, when we talked after Monday Night Football, it was Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals head coach, saying that nothing has changed with their quarterback situation, meaning Kyler Murray was still going to be their starting quarterback. Well, yesterday, he changed his mind, and he said, we're going to go with Jacoby Brissett coming up here against the Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you go into Jerry's world. You throw for 250, couple of touchdowns. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's been better than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
But as you pointed out, $50 million this year, $50 million next year. They're not getting out of that. Do they have the guts to say we're just going to swallow it and move on from Kyler Murray?
I mean,
it's starting to look like it. I remember Jim Harbaugh said, we got two good quarterbacks when Colin Kaepernick was coming up. That was the signal that Alex Smith's era was done in San Francisco sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so the Cardinals 6.5-point dogs in Seattle coming up here this Sunday. So Jacoby Brissett.
A little bit of an upgrade from 7 points before Monday Night Football. Yep. I think the market likes Brissett now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the Week 10 Trench Report, Mackenzie. As usual, we identify the top overall mismatches as well as the top rushing mismatches. And a couple of interesting things that, have been pointed out. The rushing mismatches it's really been that's where the bread has been buttered. Looking at these running back props now, 9 in the last 2 weeks alone, 9-1 to the over on the running back props for the RB1s in the top 5 rushing mismatches. So the full Trench Report is available right now up on BetterDay.com for you Better Day subscribers. So you want to make sure that you go to the website, subscribe, click on the Research and Analysis tab, and check out the full Week 10 Trench Report. Comes out every Wednesday. Emailed to you subscribers as well, about 9 a.m. Eastern time. You get that email. So depending on when you're listening to this pod, that's when you will see your Trench Report up in your email and up on BetterDay.com. So let's talk about the 5 overall mismatches this week, the top 5 overall mismatches. The number one biggest mismatch, and this makes you feel a lot better about your survivor pick, Mackenzie. The Denver Broncos over the Las Vegas Raiders. The Broncos with the number one pass protection, elite run blocking as well. Raiders defense shouldn't really stand a chance here in this matchup here. The number one biggest mismatch of the week, the Denver Broncos over the Las Vegas Raiders.
For the first 5 games of the season, every part of the Broncos was clicking. Defensively, offensively, offensive line, as the Trench Report reflects. But Bo Nix was struggling. He was the 28th rated quarterback in QBR. Well, now he's 18th, and if he's average or better like he's been the last 4 or 5 weeks, really since that Giants game, the rest of their team has been torching people, and I think the Raiders will be the next victim.
Broncos number 1 in pass blocking composite score, number 4 in pass rush composite score, number 2 tied for second in run defense composite score. I've said it before, but the Denver Broncos are the darling of the Trench Report, and rightfully so. Your number 2 biggest overall mismatch of the week is the Buffalo Bills over the Miami Dolphins. The Bills with the number 3 pass protection, number 2 run blocking, and the Dolphins defense, oh boy, they have a lot of weaknesses on their defensive front. This should be a nice dominance here for James Cook, possibly, and the Buffalo Bills, who are 9.5-point favorites at Miami.
Everything seems to point to the Bills' offense, but they make you pay for it. Over under 30.5. I think that's the highest I've seen this season for a team total for the Bills. I'd still lean over, but maybe just play James Cook and continue that 9-1 prop trend and keep cashing.
Yep. Okay, here's the next game, which this is where things start to get interesting, and this is where I think we find value in the Trench Report. The number 3 biggest mismatch is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Los Angeles Chargers. Sunday Night Football, the Steelers 3-point dogs going to SoFi to take on the Chargers. The Trench Report has identified the Steelers with their number 2 pass rush going up against the Chargers' ineptitude in their pass protection as the number 3 overall biggest mismatch of the week.
Yeah, and those year-to-date pass blocking stats for the Chargers include some Joe Alt. He's been in and out.
Yep.
In and out. Well,
Now
he's now out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is probably the nadir of the Chargers pass protection. Still, I don't love Aaron Rodgers. Maybe a Chargers team total under. I'm not necessarily thinking the Steelers win that game, but defensively, I do think they overperform.
All right, the number 4 biggest mismatch in the Week 10 Trench Report, available right now up on BetterDay.com. The Los Angeles Rams over the San Francisco 49ers.
Double check that one. I think the Excel file skipped a beat on that one.
Well, the Rams grade out as the number 1 run blocking team in the NFL, and going up against the...
Well, Fred Warner's going to be back this week, I heard. He's going to get some surgery. He's going to get a prosthetic shoulder, whatever he needs.
Unfortunately, Mackenzie, the run defense for the 49ers has not graded out well. And so this feels like a good Kyren Williams game, good overall game here. The Rams with the trench edge over the San Francisco 49ers.
Last time they met, they had 2 stops to begin the game, the 49ers did. The rest of the game, Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense completely blitzed them. They had no answers. And they had Fred Warner at that time. And they had Mikael Williams at that time. Losing like a starter a week is not the recipe to stop the Rams offense, which ranks really in the top 5 in every metric you want to look at. So as a 49ers fan, I'm pessimistic. I'm hopeful my guys are going to go get them, but everything I look at says the Rams are going to roll.
Rams 3.5-point favorites right now up on FanDuel. And the number 5 biggest overall mismatch in the Week 10 Trench Report, the Seattle Seahawks over the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle 6.5-point favorites up on FanDuel. We spoke about this with Jacoby Brissett now getting the start for Arizona. So it's the run blocking edge against the Cardinals defense that is really a big factor here.
Is there any reason we think the Seahawks have suddenly not become a good home team? Like, are they like tired of football up in Seattle?
Crazy,
Or are they
right?
into like
that is wild.
Hacky sack or something? Like this used to be the place to go win a game. Mike McDonald's, what'd you say, 11-1?
11-1 on the road. Yeah.
He's been under 500 at home. I think that's kind of some noise. I think they'll be the team we think they are this week.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Elsewhere, there's the 3 closest matchups here in the Trench Report where I also think there's value. Like last week, if we looked at the 3 closest matchups on the Trench Report last week, like it identified games where the underdog showed value. So let me just pull this up real quick. With last week's Trench Report, I'll pull this up for you guys. The 3 closest matchups in the Trench Report last week were the Steelers over the Colts, and guess what?
Upset win.
Steelers won outright as underdogs. Patriots and Falcons, and the Falcons covered as 5.5-point dogs. And then the Cardinals and Cowboys, and the Cardinals won outright as dogs. So
Yeah, covered by 15 points.
yes, so the three closest matchups showed value in taking the underdogs. So even though like this says, like last week it said Cowboys were plus 1.8 over the Cardinals in the trench report, that's not what that's not saying Cowboys over the Cardinals. It's essentially it's saying this was one of the three closest matchups. So maybe the Cowboy, there's value in the underdogs here with the close matchups. I think that's the way you have to look at it. So here are your closest matchups for week number 10. The closest matchup is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. And right now up on the FanDuel Sportsbook, you have the Texans as a 1.5-point favorite. So, I mean, that's hard to find some value there, although maybe teasing the other side up, teasing the Jags up to 7.5 could be interesting. Your next closest matchup is the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders. And right now, without Jaden Daniels, the Lions 8.5-point favorites at the Commanders. Maybe there's value on the Commanders with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, just because in the trenches, it's a pretty close matchup here. And another close matchup is the Berlin game between the Colts and the Falcons. Right now, Indy is a 6.5-point favorite in that game in Berlin. I think there's value on the Atlanta Falcons in that matchup.
Yeah, a lot of these teams like the Texans and the Falcons, they're like 1 or 2 plays from being 5-3 instead of 3-5. I think the trench report kind of identifies that they've been as good as a lot of these teams. I'll say wait on that Texans tease. It seems like he has a chance to play C.J. Stroud in concussion protocol,
Yep.
But you never know. That line's obviously going to move either way we find out. I kind of like the Falcons on a neutral. We saw Daniel Jones in an uncomfortable environment in Three River Stadium, or whatever it's called now in Pittsburgh. In Berlin, I'm not sure. I think he's better in a dome where everything is very comfortable for him. I'm not sure he's going to have a great game against the Falcons.
You do realize Three Rivers was like a completely different building, right?
I did not know that. Was it like Yankee Stadium where they built it like next door and you throw a rock between the two?
Yeah, like it's a.
Are they still playing in Candlestick Park?
Yeah.
What about the Polo Grounds? Who's playing in the Polo Grounds?
Yeah, that's right. But listen, it's still right there. I mean, you might as well just call it Three Rivers. Like it's on the Three Rivers.
It's the terrible towels that makes the aesthetic.
Okay, can you name the Three Rivers?
Allegheny? There's an A and a G and an H all crammed in there somewhere.
You're close. The Allegheny. All right.
Yep. That's what I said.
Okay.
The
right,
Delaware. I have no idea.
Come on.
I have no idea.
The
Delaware? Is that one?
What'd you say?
I said the Delaware. It's in the same.
No,
it's in the Mid-Atlantic.
No, but it is a state. It's.
I think there's a river too.
It's the Ohio. So
okay.
The Allegheny
and the Pennsylvania.
No, the Allegheny, the Ohio, and then there's another one that the name I don't remember, but it's like Magalai, Manahala, Kamana, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's some
Manawanapia River.
Yeah, it's the Onomatopoeia River. Yes, that's what it is. Hold on, I'll look it up in just a second. Give me a second. The Three Rivers. Allegheny. I was close. Allegheny, Ohio, and Monongahela. I was close. I knew it was like onomatopoeia.
You're looking at it and you can't pronounce it. I thought you were a professional.
No, I knew it was something like that. But there you go. Those are the Three Rivers. So there you have it. For the top 5 rushing mismatches, head to betterday.com. Become a betterday.com subscriber. Get the Trench Report every single Wednesday emailed right into your inbox, along with the betterday.com newsletter, and always have access to the website. Just go to betterday.com, click on the research and analysis tab, and find your Trench Report, as well as the fantasy football article, Mackenzie Rivers NBA Power Rankings, which are coming out tomorrow, or actually later on today as well. So lots of stuff being put for you. As I mentioned, we got some great new exciting features and partnerships coming up on betterday.com. So I teased you a little bit. We talked about the overall mismatches. We talked about the close mismatches. But I'm going to say you got to go to the website and get the full Trench Report to find out the top 5 rushing mismatches here for this week. All right, Mackenzie, let's get into some hoops. NBA last night, Mackenzie, good cash with the Oklahoma City Thunder laying a 7 at the Clippers, a 126-107 win in LA. SGA scores 30 points. James Harden with 25 in the loss. The Thunder improved to 8-0 on the season. And I just teased out previously about your power rankings coming up here later today up on betterday.com. I would be baffled, confused. Wait, give me another word for flustered. What's another word that I'm looking
Vexed?
for? Yeah, like perplexed.
Could be vexed.
Perplexed.
Gobsmacked.
Yes, if you did not have the Oklahoma City Thunder as the number one team in your power rankings.
Yeah, they've been number one for 6 months now. What I'm struggling with is if I didn't know the Golden State Warriors of 2017 existed and what I had them power rated when I was first doing power ratings, I'd have the Thunder higher. But I just keep looking at it like they are not in that class. Are they? But what really stands out, especially when I look at my model day after day and why I have them so often, is they're dominating. They're winning by 20 points per game. And until last night, they weren't shooting well. Their opponents were shooting better percentage from three, which you never see. You never see a team that keeps blowing out teams despite poor shooting. Well, they hit 18 of 38, and they erased a 10-point early deficit and went up by 25 against a decent team in the Clippers. This team is an absolute juggernaut.
Yep, they absolutely are. Speaking of the Golden State Warriors, they're not the 2017 Warriors, but Steph Curry did have 28 points last night as the Warriors beat the Suns 118-107. We talked about that clutch matchup between the Bulls and the Sixers. You and I both liked the Sixers yesterday.
And I felt like a genius for 45 minutes.
Yeah, they blew a 24-point lead, Mackenzie. The Sixers blow a 24-point lead. The Bulls come all the way back, 29 points, 15 boards, 12 dimes for Josh Giddey. The Bulls get the 113-111 win over the Sixers.
And I had just done my write-up on the Bulls and the Sixers for my power ratings before I watched this game. And it just seemed like I was prophetic. I'm like, why didn't I bet this? Why didn't I bet more on this? Why didn't I have an alternate on the Sixers? But I got to give the Bulls credit. They edged back, and the end of the game, which point guard did you trust? Tyrese Maxey's explosive. He's fast. I'm not sure he has the cool hand Luke that Josh Giddey had at the end of this game. And Embiid, 26 minutes, only 6 rebounds, 33% from the field. Until he's right, the Sixers can't get to where they want to go. Yeah. I don't believe Maxey's going to lead a long playoff run through the playoffs.
All right. And elsewhere last night, Giannis did play, scored 22 points, but the Raptors dominated the Bucks 128-100. Let's take a look at the schedule for tonight. Those Sixers are playing the second out of a back-to-back here. They're in Cleveland right now up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It is the Cavaliers as a 10.5-point favorite, Mackenzie, over Philly.
And this is what we saw with the Clippers, where the line, as soon as that game ended against the Heat 2 nights ago, the line zoomed up. Didn't zoom up enough. We were able to still cash with the Thunder. But the presumption is, with no news, that they're going to rest one or multiple of their stars. So that's kind of tough to play it. You can sometimes you get a read, like, oh, Kawhi Leonard, they're talking about a bum ankle. Probably not going to play. They sometimes tip their hand, but it's kind of a guessing game. 9.5 is a terrible line if all the Sixers are playing, even on a back-to-back, but it's probably the right line because they're going to rest Embiid and others.
Okay. Elsewhere on the schedule for tonight, the Knicks host the Timberwolves. New York, 5.5-point favorites.
I think the Knicks are running in, getting into shape. I think Jalen Brunson, in the games that they've lost, the 3 games they've lost, 35 points per game, 25 shots per game. That's the old Knicks. In the 4 games that they've won, he's averaging 25 and 9 off a very moderate 19 shots per game, and Karl Anthony Towns is getting more involved. I think they're starting to figure out a formula that works. Against his old team, I expect Cat to have a big game.
All right. Lakers will take on the Spurs tonight. LA, a 3-point home favorite.
Ooh. I have these teams close to equal at full strength. Lakers aren't even close to full strength. Yeah. They don't have LeBron James for one. And they're still I'm not sure if Luka is ready to go on every single night. He seems like he's picking his spots here. I kind of like the Spurs here. I'll have to dig into that one more.
Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back. They are playing in Portland. They're only laying 5.5. What do you make of that line?
I think it's light. The Thunder are beloved by my model. To outscore teams like they're doing without shooting well means they're going to actually get better if regression does what it does. I don't mind also a back-to-back early in the season. I think the market kind of overvalues that. They give the same 2-point downgrade in October for back-to-back than they do in February. Doesn't make any sense. I think that's usually Usually that's the place to look. You want to bet on the team early in the season that's on a back-to-back.
All right, that's fair. On the ice last night, Mackenzie, our modified version of the Eichel Tower did hit again. Jack Eichel over 2.5 shots on goal came through.
Nice.
Now his line
10 out of 11. That's what we said, right? 10 out of 11.
Yeah, now it's 11 out of 12. But his line was 3.5 last night. So it's unfair to brag about cashing an Eichel Tower when his line everywhere was painted at 3.5 plus money to the over. But he finishes with 3 shots on goal. So if you were
you could bet. You could figure out a way to bet.
Yes, you could bet the over 2.5 just at a significant juice. So, like some sports books allow you to do the whole, 1+ shots, 2+ shots, 3+ shots. So if you did like 2+ shots on goal, you had to lay over -200, but you cashed, right? Because Eichel was going over 2.5 in every game. Now you could have gotten creative. I'm not recommending this, but let's say someone, let's call him for argument's sake, I don't know, Scott. Okay, wanted to do a same game parlay last night of Jack Eichel 3 shots on goal with the Golden Knights money line. It came out to like -145. So you could have done something like that because the VGK was north of -200 favorites at home, great spot, and Jack Eichel was too juiced at over 3.5. So over 2.5 was. It was too juiced just to do it by itself. So if you wanted to do a little same game parlay and have them go over 2.5 with the VGK money line, you could have gotten it at like -145 or so, depending on the book. Interesting ways to handle that. But no, in all seriousness, VGK gets the win 1-0. Jack Eichel does go over 2.5 once again. So if that's something you want to do and you want to lay the juice, again, I'm not going to sit here and say my best bet is a -225. No, but like if that's something you want to do, it cashes, man. It just, the guys are machine.
The Knights have not had a win this season where Eichel didn't get 3 shots, which is not surprising because he's done it 11 out of 12 times, but still, it's correlated.
He's an absolute machine. He really is. He's an absolute machine. Elsewhere last night, the Hurricanes blanked the Rangers 3-0. New York is still...
I'm telling you, they have never scored in Madison Square Garden.
They have scored, but no, they are still winless at home.
It's crazy.
0-5-1 at home to start the season. How? Like, this team, unbelievable that they haven't won a game on home ice. We did take a shot with the underdog price there, put that in the newsletter. That was one of our leans here in last night. So we didn't come home with that, but we did come home with the other leans with the Stars winning 4-3 over the Oilers in a shootout, the Avalanche with a 3-2 win at home over the Tampa Bay Lightning. So a couple of angles to play. Obviously, take a look at the sportsbook odds and see how you want to play it. But we're going to have more NHL picks coming up. Eventually we're going to focus in more on the NHL, especially when football season starts to wind down. That's when, kind of like the NBA starting around Christmas, it kind of is like,
picks up.
Yeah, it does pick up, and we can kind of throw our priors out and get really locked into the data points from this season. Like that's really, that's the best. Like, when you have enough data this season that you can separate these teams. Now, there is a system play tonight, Mackenzie. Again, a system play tonight on the ice. In fact, is this a system that I put up on betterday.com under the systems page? Let's see. NHL system, did I put this on? I did put the teams on the second night of a back-to-back in Colorado. I did not put the teams on the second of a back-to-back in Toronto. That is what we have here tonight with the Utah Mammoth. So if you're on 0 rest, you're away, and you are in Toronto. Let's see, going back to the start of the 2021 season. Let's pull up the numbers for you guys. You are 5-26 straight up.
Wow.
5-26 straight up. So,
About 1-6. Not good.
Toronto minus 172 tonight over the Utah Mammoth. That is our system play of the night in the NHL. Before we wrap things up for this episode here of Better Day, I want to talk about the college football playoff rankings that came out last night, the first of many iterations of the college football playoff rankings. If the season were to end today, your top 4 teams that will get buys in the college football playoffs, because remember, the new rules this year with the 12-team playoffs, it's not like last year in the 12-team playoff where it's the conference champions are guaranteed the buys. It's just the top 4 seeds will get buys. So the conference champions are guaranteed automatic berths, right, including the group of 5, highest-ranked group of 5 champion, but they are no longer guaranteed the buys. So you don't have a situation like we had last year where all 4 teams on the bye lost because they were all dogs in their games pretty much. So the top 4 teams are Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, and Alabama number 4. Those are your top 4 teams in the first college football playoff rankings. And rounding out the next group in the playoff field, if you will, the number 5, Georgia, number 6, Ole Miss, 7, BYU, 8, Texas Tech, 9, Oregon, 10, Notre Dame, 11, Texas, and yes, Oklahoma is ranked number 12, but that doesn't matter because the 12th seed goes to the highest ranked group of 5 champion, and no group of 5 team was ranked in the top 25 of the college football playoff, but the highest ranked team is Memphis, number 22 in the AP poll currently, but not ranked in the college football playoff top 25. So if the playoffs started today, Memphis would be the 12 seed taking on the 5 seed Georgia Bulldogs. There's no sense in arguing about this now. It's going to play itself out. This is the beauty of the college football season. It's going to play itself out. I think one of the biggest things that we're going to have to pay attention to is which conference gets like an extra at-large team. Is it going to be the ACC or is it going to be the Big 12? That's the debate. Because if you look at the rankings right now, right, you look at where we are, and it's the Big 10 and the SEC. All right?
Yep.
Now, Big 12, number 7, BYU. They're the highest-ranked Big 12 team. Texas Tech is number 8. Oh, by the way, Texas Tech and BYU play each other this weekend. So one of those teams will be eliminated. Well, not eliminated because obviously the winner of the Big 12 championship game is going to go into the college football playoff, right? But then Utah's the next highest Big 12 team. They're ranked number 13. So, yes, the Big 12 champion's going to get in, but will a second Big 12 team get in? Same thing with the ACC. The ACC champ's going to get in, but will a second ACC team get in? Virginia is the highest ranked ACC team right now at number 14, Louisville number 15, Georgia Tech 17, and Miami 18. Those are the highest ranked ACC teams.
So even though they ranked it, the College Football Playoff Committee ranked these teams, it would, if the season ended today, violate their own rules not having any ACC teams in there. So you almost have to make an asterisk.
Well,
like these are the 12 teams.
No, because if the season ended today, there would be an ACC team. It would be Virginia. Yeah. Virginia's number 1 ranked right now in the ACC. They would technically be the number 11 seed because the 12 seed would be Memphis. So Memphis was not ranked, but they'd be the highest group of 5 champion. And then the ACC champion, they would just, like, if the season ended today, you would say Virginia is the ACC champion. So Virginia would be number 11.
So they're going to leapfrog a team like Oklahoma at 12.
Yes.
Probably not Texas. They're probably going to find a way to get Texas in there.
We'll see. We shall see the way this plays out.
You can bet this stuff. Ohio State is not listed, but Georgia minus 500, Alabama minus 1,000 are some of the bigger favorites to make the playoffs here on DraftKings. Let me see if there's some interesting ones that are close to 50-50. Oregon minus 200. Got to think they would make it. They were thought of as the best team for a while.
It's gonna be. It's gonna play itself out. It's gonna play.
Will Texas make it? We were just talking about them. That's actually the closest to even, and they're slight dogs. Plus 170, minus 230 on the no.
We're gonna find out. Texas has to play Georgia coming up. Not this week, but next week. So that could be an elimination game essentially between Texas and Georgia coming up here next weekend. All right, don't forget to go to betterday.com. Make sure that you subscribe to betterday.com. Get the Trench Report, which is available right now. It's emailed to you 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays. You get it emailed to you. You also get the daily newsletter emailed to you 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, as well as the fantasy football article that comes out on Fridays, the second Football Friday article or newsletter, which is the college football newsletter that goes up, and everything is always available up on betterday.com. If you missed the newsletter, you can simply go to the website, click on the newsletter tab, go to the archives. And if you want to check out the Trench Report, the fantasy football article, and later on today, Mackenzie Rivers NBA Power Rankings, go to betterday.com and click on the research tab and get that. And the updated picks page is going to go live, I'm hoping, for this weekend. Again, I told you guys that we have some exciting partnership news that's coming up on betterday.com, meaning like you're going to be able to track the source of the picks, and some of these picks are going to come from respected names in the industry, and not just from just the conversations Mackenzie and I or Jared and I or somebody else and I have on the podcast. So you'll be able to see exactly who the pick is from and tell the source accordingly, hoping to get that sorted out over the next couple of days, and hopefully we'll have those up for you for football games coming up here this weekend. Don't forget to hit us up on social media as well. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.